time to start on the 1972 Blazer, the black Blazer, red 72 GMC Jimmy in disguise. Starts off with a wash. Thing's filthy, but I can't do it right here. Make a big mud puddle with the pressure washer, so we're gonna pull it out here to the rocks. Filthy. Been washed on this thing for the better half of today, and it's cleaned up a little bit. Doesn't look much different, but it was dirtier. And now it is cleaner. It's not clean, but it's cleaner. The paint, they did a good job painting this thing, or at least it's somewhat decent. I mean, look at that. It's got some shine and sheen to it. I haven't hit it with the buffer yet. It's gonna buff out nice. The firewall, though, I think they just rattle canned it. And there they just did a quickie because it's like flaking off the firewall and kind of messy. You can see the original medium red that came from the factory in. But this cleaned up. I'm curious if this is the original motor or not. It just might be. So greasy. Well, I'm gonna clean that. Suffix code pad off, and we'll see what we got. But yeah, it's got later manifolds, square body log junker, log smog manifolds that are choking it down. But that easily could have just been because the ram horn's cracked out, so they put those on it. I'm not convinced it's not the original engine because it looks orange and it looks like it's been there for a very long time. It was very even greasier than this, so we'll see what it was. We'll see what it is, I should say. But yeah, AC delete again. We'll get into that. I kind of covered that in the last video of bring all these trucks home from the show collection. I kind of went over this one for a little bit and kind of talked about it because it kind of is the star of the show, I'd say. Certainly my favorite, and certainly probably the most desirable of the bunch. But I went over some kind of things that's going on with it, and one of the things was it was a factory AC truck, which they deleted and put a normal heater box on. So we got to make sure that all works right and whatnot, but we'll get to that. For now, just got cleaned up and gonna pull around to the front of the shop. We're gonna start working on it and start picking away and removing this smaller, wrong square body lift kit that's got the axle too far back and the rear end too far down. We're gonna get that big old 8-inch Skydecker back on it and get it sitting up high and mighty again and looking at the best part. So, okay, let's pull this thing around front. All right, so here's what I got cooking for the black Blazer. 36, 12.5, 15 on old school factory rallies. Interco Super Swampers. They are radials. Not in terrible shape. They're getting a little bit of dry. Tons of tread left. Nice and chunky still. All 4 of them are. And I just popped the beauty rings and caps that had kind of some mix match stuff on it and saw all the wheel weights. Every one of these has huge weights, front and back. And I'm not convinced they're going to be doing any sort of balancing on these. Maybe I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm taking all the weights off. I'm throwing a bag of balance beads in each one of these. And we'll pop the bead on one side, replace the valve stem, throw a bag of beads in there, and call it a day. And if they balance, they balance. If they don't, they don't. But I know for a fact that this many wheel weights, it's got them on the back sides too. Look. Yeah, no, they're just opposite of each other almost too. Yeah, no, that ain't working. There's no way. And gotta be making things worse. So I'm gonna start off with just a quick little pressure wash, clean them up, and I'll take them in and to my tire guys and have them. We'll get all these weights off there and get a bag of beads in each one of them. Get them cleaned up and possibly painted up, and we'll get them on the Blazer. Well, I got it pulled around front last night, and this morning I came out here and started playing around with it a little bit. We got on our flat tire. These 31s are, I don't know, they're literally going flat overnight. It's a sign. It wants them swampers. It wants the 36s. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to get this 8-inch Skydecker kit put back on the truck and remove this square body lift off of it. This truck forever sat down Riverside, Washington, and it had this big old giant lift kit on it. I mean, it was monster, high and mighty. And I tried buying it for years and years. I was always trying to buy this truck, never could get it, never wanted to sell it, never wanted to sell it. All of a sudden, a big wildfire came through the area. After that, it was gone. And then 5 years later, I find it up in Dell's yard. Well, he ended up buying it from them. They took it back to Wenatchee and decided it was too rough or whatever it be. And Dell ended up getting it. Well, he brought it home, and right off the bat, he didn't like the big giant lift kit. He took it off. and him or his mechanic or whatever, they just figured square body stuff was the same, which it's not. The front springs are longer and the back springs have less arch naturally, regardless of whatever size they are. So you'd have to have basically a 6-inch square body rear spring in order to sit like a 4-inch on these trucks, and that's what they are. That's why when you buy a 4-inch lift kit for these trucks, you have 4-inch 67, 72 front springs. Then it has essentially what is labeled as a 6-inch square body spring that ends up being a 4-inch on a 67 to 72. With that being said, it has a stock square body spring and a 4-inch block. In a sense, that sits like a 2-inch lift is what it sits like. And then up here we got a 4-inch square body spring, which is too long. The center pin essentially is farther back because they're both center pins. Right in the middle of the spring. Well, since it's longer by a couple inches, this axle, you can see, is about 1.5 inches or about 2 inches too far back. So everything's all goofed up. It's got the steering box all out of whack. It's trying to reach back to the axle back there a couple inches farther back. It's just all goofed up. This is going away. This was what made this thing so badass, and it's going back on it. So that's what we're doing today, is getting this back on there. So starting with the front, gonna get these tires busted off of it, and yeah, get these springs installed and get it sitting up, jacked up in the front. All right, there we go. Now we're talking. It's getting windy, so I gotta keep it short. Front springs installed. Looks like somebody actually did some brake stuff recently. We got some new calipers and pads. Still the original rotors. You can just barely see the line. And you can feel it a little deeper on the backside. They're in okay shape still. Best rotors these trucks you're ever gonna have. The ones they came with. They don't make rotors that good anymore. It's good shit. Yeah, so that explains why it actually stops good, or does stop. Towing it around a couple times now. It's pedal has worked and stopped the truck. This thing is jacked up, man. You guys see why I was so excited about that? All right, let's get the rear lift installed as well. Well, we got her done. Those back springs kicked my butt. Those big arched rear springs are always a kind of a pain to get into place. Got to wrestle them around. We're just about done, I should say. Got one more shock to put on the front, and yeah, it's got its 8-inch lift installed. We got a 4-inch or whatever the heck it was square body lift for somebody there. High and mighty again. That almost makes the 36s look small. Oh, I love it. I remember it. It was set out in that little town, and it was just on big tires like this. Well, again, that I actually got with the truck. Some Dick CPEC 36-inch, same height, but super wide, 15 on 15-inch, like centerline style, like aluminum mags. And it just sat down there. The thing was just a monster. I mean, look at it. It makes Big Red look small over there. This ended up also being actually a 9-inch lift. We got an extra inch from those, at least from them big old shackles they had up front. And they had some little rinky-dink blocks that were in the back that were kind of falling apart. So I replicated those with a 1-inch zero rate. You can see over there. I did both sides. So we've actually got a full 9 inches of lift. And God, it looks badass. Lots to do still. We don't even know how it drives on this. It's still got, push-pull steering. Could be all slopped out. It could be all over the road. These swampers could be ovals, egg-shaped, as they kind of, I'm suspecting they are. But look at it. It looks badass. That was the goal here. Get it looking badass again, and get it looking right, because the only thing was, it was so goofed up before, sitting all high in the front, low in the back on these wrong springs, that now it sits level and it sits right. It looks like it's not, missing a motor or something. So today was a success. I wrestled around. I rolled around on the concrete all day. Well, for the better part of the day, putting that in there. The front was a breeze. The back, again, kicked my butt, but we got her done. Those big springs, the big arch in the back, they're just, they're stiff, and they don't want to go to the holes. And sometimes they just, I don't know. Sometimes they fight you more than others. And I fought these ones today. But yeah, looking badass. I'm still grinning ear to ear. Pretty darn cool. Other side. Thing's so dang tall, it's hard to fit in the camera. Gotta take a couple extra steps back. Badass. No, I dig it. Totally dig it. Like a total hillbilly that I certainly am today. Rolling around putting this big old lift on this old rusty K5, and I'll tell you what, it felt good. Well, it's been about a week or so since I lifted this thing back up and got it back to its former glory, and it's been fun staring at it and having it in the background this whole last week working on our stuff. And here's this big badass Blazer that's so pleasing on the eyes. Gotta love it. I've been enjoying it. Kind of want to film a little bit more to close this video, so we're gonna do two things and go over real quick here. I was curious if this was the original motor. I thought it could be. Has the original radiator, upper pipe here. We got the original four-wheel drive dipstick, original brackets, all original, you know, everything kind of 72 correct. And a lot of times when the motor gets changed out, that stuff just goes bye-bye and they stick whatever, you know, leave whatever dipstick it had on it. Or if it's a later motor, it's got the dipstick on the other side. So it's one of those things where I was kind of hoping and kind of figuring it was the original engine. It is not. And I'll show you guys. We've got a last three there of CMH. So we know right away because of the C, this is and was a car motor. So show you guys in the book what that says. I also did basically make it to where you have to stand on something to even get up in there now. I'm not complaining though. I mean, changing the starter is going to be a breeze. Throwing that front drive line in, it's going to be a breeze. I'm going to check this thing up. There's plenty of clearance. You can stand up underneath of it and work on it, you know, pretty easily from down there. From up top though, it's a little fun. I'm going to have to maybe get something a little more stable than the old Yeti cooler here. CMH. So we got hopefully a 350 on our hands here. So you can see there, the bottom, well, 5. It's either a Camaro, 72 Camaro motor, 350, a 75 350, a 76 350, a 74 350, and hopefully not a 1980 305. All kind of, well, getting to be, well, smoggier and smoggier as that list goes down. But hey, who knows? Maybe it has something done to it, you know. Could have some different heads on it. I didn't check those. I can assure everybody it's a good old small block Chevy. Tough as nails, dependable as can be. Just ain't the original truck block. We'll have to dig further and check out the casting code in the back of the block maybe. That should be able to narrow it down between which one of those it is or get us as close. You know, a lot of times it ain't going to be the same casting with the 305. So it'll tell us at least if it's one of those 350s and or it is that 305. But, I mean, she's cherry. Who knows? Could be a hot rod. Kind of not assuming per the looks. Little greasy, pretty ugly. Even that pressure wash still, well, just barely put a dent in its appearance. But we can maybe get that spruced up a little bit. Get it running first and then go from there. Who knows? Maybe the motor's bad. I mean, I know that Dell had the thing running, but that was 5-6 years ago, and I never saw it run myself. So how good does it run? Well, I don't know. Still yet to find that out. And that will be the next video on this thing. But for now, our last closing, let's do a quick little Spid episode. Run down the list here. And this, of course, is a GMC originally. We'll see there by the T in the VIN. Chevy started with C. GMC started with T in 1972. And the next following was a drive configuration in 72. C or K. And so it's K, four-wheel drive EV8. 1/2 ton. We go on to S St. Louis, built in St. Louis, and the rest of the sequence. So, earlier trucks, Chevy and GMC rather, just started with C or K. 69 Blazers did start with B, but those, of course, were all Chevys. So, we've got there's lots of little like different ways VINs start out and list, but if you see a T, you know it's a 1972 GMC. They're only ones that start with that. Trying to get this thing to focus. It's kind of being a turd. So, we'll go down from the top of the list. So tinted glass. That, of course, is a standard option, but it is part of air conditioning. I stopped for that, and this truck was. But again, it's had that delete done. We got a normal heater box here. And possibly some, who knows what other modifications to make that all work. We got a bunch of insulation hanging down there. I'll probably just tear out. So, AC truck, it was. When new, is no longer. We got posi rear. Cool. I think I might have done one of these Spid episodes when I first brought the thing home, all those trucks, but I'm forgetting now. Whatever, run over it again real quick, and I'll do a quick little walk around of the truck and the interior. So positive air, that's cool. That's always a cool option. Turbo hydromatic, of course, that means it's automatic, and it's still got that. We got some optional tires. AM push button radio, which is, well, gone. We got a tape deck in its place. There it goes. I'm trying to get this camera to focus. The Spid's kind of dirty. I think it's just kind of throwing it off. It's trying to focus past this, I don't know, it's almost like overspray it's got on it from the black paint job or something. Movable top, white. So originally had a white top on it. It's got a black top now that is a double wall and is the wrong top. It's not wearing its original top anymore. And this top, of course, has a big owie up top that I showed in the original video on this thing after we brought it home. Medium red. Factory color is medium red. We're, of course, seeing here on this backside of this glove box. And in here, it is a pretty color. It's pretty close to Hugger. It's a little bit darker. One could easily mistake the two of them for each other, but this color is truly red, when Hugger is definitely a red-orange, a mix between the two, and can be kind of described as either or. And we see their rear seats, the rear seat truck, which is still wearing, which is pretty cool. It's got that still. And door edge guards, I think those are gone. They're not there no more. No, they're not there. It's a little stainless steel protective little strip that went down the edge of the opening side of the door. Front locking hubs, of course, we got Spicer hubs there on that front Dana 44. 350 engine, so it came with 350 factory, and maybe has a different 350 in it now, possibly 305, hopefully not. Power steering, of course, got all that original stuff there. And power steering was an expensive option. It was about $150, which is a lot of money in 72. So I'm just see trucks that don't have it, but this one was opted for it. Full wheel covers. It had PO1, the full hubcaps. It didn't have a little dog dish. It had the full, we just want to snipe some right there, like on the 71 burps. Had those on it from the factory, not just little dog dishes. And then, of course, gauges had the full gauge package, not just the dummy lights. And then Cheyenne equipment, we'll see Z84 there. So again, this is a GMC. Well, there was no Cheyenne equipment on a GMC. Per badging, there was no Cheyenne badging. There's no Cheyenne badging on a Blazer in 72. It remained a CST. They carried that on from the earlier pickups up to 70. They were in pickups, and Blazers carried on, didn't use the Cheyenne nameplate essentially. So we have it listed here on the Spid. Why is that? Something special? No, it's not. It's just the same option code. So Z84. So this was essentially on GMC, they were called custom on a Blazer, and it would have had, you can kind of almost see, they were still remnants of them there. Maybe it's the other side. It would have had a little emblem right here above the door that said custom on it. I believe it's the other side, the driver's side. You can see where it used to be and got kind of filled in and painted over. And of course, Blazers were right here in the middle of this area, CST. So this was upper trim level package. Wood grain door panels are part of that. We got sport buckets were essentially a part of that. And we've got the chrome stick, transfer case was a part of that. Center console was a part of that. Carpet floor. Rear seat was still its own option. AC, of course, was still its own option. Chrome bumpers were a part of CST. And there's more. I'm kind of just not right off the top of my head here. Oh, chrome vent windows, of course, these. And we've got the wood grain tailgate banner, the wood grain trim on the lower here. And we've got what else was it? Cigarette lighter. That was part of CST. And there's gotta be one more I can probably think of here that was a part of it. The buckets, on top of being coming with the buckets, they had the saddle scrolling in them versus just the plain essentially material they would have came with if they were just a base. And of course, Blazers only came with one seat, so I said they always had a bucket seat of some sort. By 72 they all were sports, but they came standard with one seat, and their seat optional, and the rear seat optional again on that. But CST, that trim package, consisted of coming with both front seats and the center console. CST was a good deal. It came with a lot of stuff. It was like about $300-something option, and it really spruced up a Blazer, and a lot of people picked it. There's more Blazers with CST than without. honestly. Base model Blazers are more hard to come by than a CST. People had the money to buy a Blazer, had the money for the extra $300, which was, you know, just a little bit over 10% of the base vehicle cost to really spruce it up. I mean, it changed the look of these trucks. I mean, you got a CST, it looked all dulled out, and because it was. So a lot of people opted for it, and it's more common to see them than not. So nothing kind of rare here. And going back, I'm sorry, to why we're seeing a GMC labeled as a Chevy nameplate, and then again a truck Chevy nameplate, is because again these were typewriter format. They had a code they put in, and they had something they would use to describe that. So for years, well, I guess for the last 2 years, when typing Z84, most of the time if it was a pickup, they were just you know, following up with Cheyenne equipment. It was something used to describe this, and so essentially is the same thing. It is a Cheyenne. It's just the Blazer version, and yet again a GMC Jimmy version on top of that. So same thing. It's just kind of funny and tricky to follow. I'm doing my best to explain it. Maybe I'm not doing a good job. Let me know if you guys can follow that, or if that is making sense there, if I'm just speaking mumbo jumbo. It makes sense in my head, but I mean, there's a lot of silly things going on in my head, so it doesn't mean nothing. And oh, here's one thing. It's kind of interesting. It's a fun fact to share. Check that out. There's no speaker on the dash. You see that? This is a Blazer only thing. Most of the time, there's no speaker hole there. Some 72s you'll see will have it, but most of the time Blazers came when they had a stereo with a little speaker down below that hung down below. This, of course, is missing from this. And the idea was so that if the top was off, that the water wouldn't get into the speaker and essentially ruin it if it was, you know, per se unprotected. So they have a smoothie dash, unique to Blazers. Kind of cool. And this one still has it, of course. And of course, this is an AC one as well, too. Oh, we got an aftermarket roll bar. Roll bars, there was no roll bar that was a factory in a sense. They were dealer installed, and commonly were so. This is not one of those. This is another style of roll bar, and has been wrapped. You can see I got a big old stack of trim rings and caps there for Rally wheels to put absolutely the best set together. Maybe polish them up and get these painted up, maybe do them silver again. So the problem with these is I was showing you guys, I got all those wheel weights on these, and I was going to take them in, have them busted off, have new valve stems installed. This one's got a slow leak coming from the valve stem. And just have them throw a bag of balance beads in these things. I don't think those balance weights, the extreme amount they have on them, is really doing anything. And so I kind of had my concern towards that. But then I was loading them up in the back of the truck to take into town, and basically had that done. I seen one of them, I believe it is the other side rear. It's egg-shaped. It's got a big old lump in it. Now, it might have sat for a long time in the same spot. It kind of has a flat spot that needs to be worked out. Or the tire might just be coming apart. So I don't want to throw any more money at these. They looks cool on these in the meantime. It kind of almost needs something even bigger. Yeah, I'm going to get it running and driving on these, and we'll see how they, you know, how it goes on the road on these before I put any money into them. It's going to cost me probably, I don't know, $50 to go have them crack the bead and throw those balance beads in there, and you know, throw the valve stems in. Probably $100. Shit's expensive nowadays, so I don't want to spend $100 yet, because these tires might just be total junk. Which, well, I was trying to be. You guys will see me try to be optimistic with tires. I'm trying to. Tires are so expensive, and I'm not cheap. I like buying things. I like having nice things, and I like these trucks to drive nice. But I'm optimistic towards some junky tires being, well, not that, when they clearly are. So these Swampers might just be junk. We'll figure it out. And if they are, we'll put something better on it. It's much deserving. But again, we're going to get this old girl running first and go from there. And who knows, it might just be fine. It might, that flat spot, the lump it's got in it, it's got a, you know, big old goose egg that's on in the middle of the tread. It might work itself out. Like, it might just be from things sitting with flat tires for a long time. So this was just the start with this old girl. I just kind of wanted to, well, get that big lift back on it, and kind of try and get myself excited about it so I can start picking away at it. And I think it's a success. I mean, look at that. It's just exciting. I can talk about it all day. You know, it's just, it's badass is what it is. It's just badass. This right here is what got me into these trucks is, well, this is one of the ones to blame. That one in Big Red over there. And, well, got my own Blazer, my first one, and going and having fun and playing around with that thing. And, I mean, that's kind of the poster child for Gold City Trucks, is a big jacked up Blazer, and that's what we're working on. And it's one of the ones that, well, taught me and showed me how cool and badass these things are well, with the big old lift kit on and some chunky tires. And for 20 something years, I've known of this truck and I've never heard it make a noise. I'm stoked about it. I almost have a sentimental attachment to this thing. I've never even driven it, right? It's a special truck, and I'm excited about it and excited to show you guys the process of putting this one back on the road. And we'll basically be starting on that with the next video. Like I say, trying to get this thing running and rolling down the road again. I was filming that clip last night of the Spid episode and kind of talk about the engine and going over the stuff, the tires, and I don't know what was going on with my phone. It was having the worst time focusing. My iPhone here is like 4 or 5 years old. It's on borrowed time. So here we are the next morning, and I cleaned the camera, and it seems to be working better. So I'll do a quick little walk around to close this video. All right, so got the big old springs in place, obviously, we showed in the video. And I pressure washed. This area here was just covered. I think it's got a really long time leaking or bad leaking steering box. This whole area was sludgy everywhere. So cleaned it all up really good. Expecting there to be a leak here, something. Maybe it's just a line. Maybe it's, a seal at the block. I don't know. So possible leak. They didn't put longer brake lines on it. They did like the little drop brackets and kind of took the line out of the frame and then just like shortcutted it down. So it's got stock style hoses that are just dropped down with the bracket. It works. We might be fixing that though. It'd be nice just to have some nice braided lines and put it back up in the frame so it doesn't have all this, ugly little deal hanging down like that. Big old shocks. They're all still, I put this stuff back on. It was all in really good shape. It did not have a lot of miles on this lift kit. All the bushings are in really good shape. Every one of the shocks, was holding up good still. I mean, these are all from the 90s, man. That's old stickers there and old logo. But everything's still in pretty good shape. I mean, I think minimal miles, ever put on it with this kit, and it just sat. And I keep talking about this truck sitting, and they want to go over that again. Show. We got old plates there. Tabs on the front plate as well too. That's the old style for Washington, and it's kind of a cool 125 BET with its numbers and letters. It's got almost looks like a personalized, but it's not. I don't think, unless that meant something to somebody. But yeah, a 99. So the thing is, I think the lift got put on, in the mid to late 90s, and it just got parked. Well, I know it did. I know it got parked, and I know the lift is from then. So I don't think I know. And it sat down in that town from 99 till 2015 is when it got hauled out of Riverside. But it was sitting down there that whole entire time, and I never really saw it move much or, anything really happened to it. So it sat for a long time. In 2015, a bad wildfire came to the area, and it might have just almost got the truck. I didn't think that the fire was really close to town. This town's about an hour away from me, but it was a really bad time. It was all over the whole area, and Riverside was really surrounded by the fire really bad. And this truck was right in the middle of town, but we almost have some damage, like this chrome is like flaking away. It might have been from that. I don't know. But look at this. This is all melted, and so is the grill. It got hot. Something got hot right here by this front corner. It got really hot. So the truck, of course, after that, the owner came and picked it up and brought it back to Wenatchee. He lived in Wenatchee the whole entire time and just had it stored at his cousin's place or something along the lines of that. And so in all those years I was asking, trying to buy it, it wasn't for sale. It was my cousin's, and he lives in Wenatchee, and yeah. Well, then finally, it was just gone one day, and it was right after that wildfire happened. So he must have kind of got scared, like, oh, okay, I better grab this thing finally before it gets burnt up or something bad happens to it. And then he decided to put it for sale and sold it to Dell, and Dell had it. And then I saw that Dell had it and had a few years, and now, of course, purchased it from his estate. It looks like Dell and his mechanic, because they got this thing running, they put that Holley carburetor on it, and they took the big lift off of it. And I think we can see we got maybe a newer hose here, a rad hose, like hook up to the gas tank. They might have had the gas tank out of it. It looks like somebody might have been playing around in here. I can tell because we got kind of a hose hanging down, not the original stuff. So somebody might have played around there. Maybe the gas tank's already been out of it. It's got dual exhaust on it, big old long glass packs. It's all rusty, but it's there. It's existing. Thing is actually, all things considering rust-wise, it's pretty solid. A lot of times they are in worse condition than this. And one thing I will say that definitely helped in that aspect, it was Z-barded or some other similar treatment done to it when it was, well, maybe not new, but when it was, well, closer to new, let's put it that way. See those little plugs going there, all along there. We're going down the pillar all the way down. We got a hole for one there. The rockers have them. We got this here, there. We still have some usual rust, certainly, you know, in the floorboard areas, but it's not gone. It's existing. Those are the original floors. That's not been patched. That's the original red there. And certainly we're gonna find some holes and definitely needs to be cleaned and cleared out. The doors, look at, they got the Z-bar done to it too. They're in decent shape, and we got a little bit starting there on the inner and outer, but that's all fixable. That's all fixable. It's got a little bit there on the bottom from sitting up against this and getting a little bit rusty. A little here, it's all usual areas, but that is the original rocker. And look at it from the outside, it looks great. Certainly has a little bit sandwiched up in here, but because it had that Z-bar done to it, it well helped this truck fare a lot better over the years. Other side has a bunch of plugs on it too, and of course it had. I kind of keep on talking about. It had the conversion done. It was a GMC, and now it's certainly a Chevrolet. So I had a Chevrolet tailgate put on it, and a Chevrolet not entire front clip. General rule of thumb is, I mean, because they are different, you have to change out the fenders to put a Chevy, you know, nose on a GMC. It is all, you know, different, or a GMC on a Chevy, vice versa, because these fenders are different than Chevrolet. This front leading edge right here is has a different kind of contour, slanted. The grill angle is more slanted on a GMC, and the 69 to 72 Chevrolet is more standing straight up. So that is because these essentially are 68 GMC and Chevy fenders. They just didn't change, and Chevrolet fenders did, and kind of have the area to recess the grill. We see this big old kind of gap here, and this grill, it's kind of hard to show in person, but this grill is on more of an angle than a 6972 Chevy should be. It's because they did not change the fenders. They just changed the core sport, the grill, and the bumper, and made it work by doing that. And it doesn't look terrible, but it's certainly been played with. I mean, it looks like a 72 Blazer, but if you just look at that front grill, you can almost see it right there. It's leaning too far forward because it has, well, a GMC front fenders on it. Let's kind of show the Longhorn here. It's kind of hard to see on camera, but certainly in person it's noticeable, and you'll see there we have this gap as the grill comes and meets to the recess of the fender, when those fenders, the grill's just kind of smushed into it and pushed up against it. This, of course, being a GMC, has the more slanted nose. It's that whole chrome, you know, grill setup, has the chrome side pieces that cover this area and whatnot. Kind of goofy, but I'm not complaining. I don't care. It is what it is. It's already been done. You can't go back on it. What can I do? Cry? Oh, you know, dang it! It used to be in GMC. Well, I mean, maybe the guy restores this thing and does all the way up to the nines. Someday somebody does that, they can turn it back to a GMC then. But right now, it looks good as a Chevy. It looks good as a black Blazer. So I'm not gonna cry about it. It is what it is. Still titled and still registered. Still legally a GMC. Rear end's got a pause unit, hopefully still. It'd be cool. I'm sure the gears are not. I'm sure it was not re-geared. We got a big old whiskey dent here. I got to get out with the soccer ball or do something. That's the worst dent it's got. It's a doozy. We'll work on that though. We'll work on getting that out. I'm sure the thing was not re-geared, and I'm sure it's rolling on 308 still, which would have standard per that motor, the 350, and it did not show otherwise on the Spid. For having something different, it would have been optional 373s, of course. So it has this big old lift. It's got these big old tires on it. I bet it's still rocking some 308s. So super friendly on the highway if you can get it up to speeds. But quite the dog out of the hole this thing's going to be if it's still rocking those gears. But hey, we're just redneck trailer parking it, and we're going for looks. And if you really got to hightail it, just throw it in low range, right? I drove around my yellow Blazer like that for years, and if someone was at the stoplight next to me and they wanted to race, I just put it in low range, and then it had some, you know, 514 gears and did quite well with the low range. So there's a ways around it. You know, of course, the right thing to do is just, well, re-gear it, and that's what I eventually did. Now the truck runs good and runs down the road just fine all the time. But this one, I think, is having the same, issue go on with it. But yeah, what can I show you guys? There it be. Decided to get work on this one a little more and try to get it running. Oh yeah, that top damage I showed in the first video, but I put it up higher in the air so it's even harder to see. There it is. It's got a big old alley. Again, it's the wrong top. It's a double wall, so the mounting points are not in the correct spot. It's kind of only held in by a couple bolts, so might be on the hunt for a better top altogether in the correct style one, which would be a single wall. So there we have it. Lift kit reinstalled. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you're new to the channel, check it out. There's tons of other videos on these trucks. It's all I post. And I appreciate you guys' support. Like, comment, subscribe. And as always, more 67 to 72 content soon.